Aquatic Ma's channel. Today's video is going to be a mini update. Just going to show you guys some new stuff, talk about what I want to change in here. Pretty much like the last two videos that I put out, but there are some new faces that I have here that I want to introduce you to, so let's get to it. I'm just going to pan around really quickly. The light from this tank makes it look really weird, so I'm gonna just try to not film that tank as much. But that is the Crayfish right there. That's his tank. This is the grout tank. I have my live cultures down there. That is the 5.5 no filter tank. That is a 2.5. That is a 10-gallon. There's another 5.5 up there. There's some pothos. There's some seeds with a marijuana light up there. But that is not marijuana I'm trying to grow. And yeah, I want to get the longer rack that they make. This is by, I believe it's Walmart's brand called Hyper Tough. And I want to get the longer rack, which is about 48 inches. So it would go from here all the way to about half of that 10-gallon tank, because I have all that space right now that I want to use. My dining table is getting out of this room eventually. I've been saying that for the past like 3 months, but yeah, that's what I want to do here, just so that I can have more 20 longs. The Crayfish, that has always been a temporary thing for him. He does have tank mates in there, which are ghost shrimp, and we'll get a closer view of that in a minute. The Licorice Gourami, I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I'm going to keep this rack, but I want to add the longer one, and I kind of want to put this one either on this wall long ways, because it would stop right here. This is my patio sliding glass door. And the short rack, of course, I'm going to keep that, but it's just getting really cluttered, and yeah, I'm just getting really tired of it, and tired of planning and planning and planning and not doing and doing and doing. So here is going to be a terrible video of betta fish fry. I have a random, this is a green neon Tetra. I thought it was like a really rare rasbora, but it's got the wrong body shape. But I actually got him because I got a pair of female bettas that were in like a community tank, and she accidentally net that one. So I decided to keep him and give him some friends, but my gouramis ate them. So he's just in here for the heck of it. But yeah, this is my betta fry. They are getting pretty big. They're almost 2 inches. Two of them in here are actually 2 inches. I told you guys before in my last video that I was having some issues with some different fry growth, and I knew that was due to me not being able to keep up with a lot of water changes. I do big water changes to the point where the heater over there is pretty much out of water. So I do that about every 2 days, and oh god, he is really active. But yeah, this is them. They're eating Tetra crisp now, and also some brine shrimp. I try to vary their diet. They don't really like anything that's floating up there, so I have to crush the Tetra crisp and let it sink so that they can eat it. But yeah, the fry tank's doing pretty well. I still have a random, like, very tiny fry right here after my last culling, and he doesn't seem to be growing anymore. I was going to try to net him out and cull him, but I think I'll just let him be and just see what happens. He's in, I want to say, the range of a 1-month-old betta fry size, which is really weird. So not quite sure what's going on there. I have identified 2 of them in here as males and 1 as a female, but it's still kind of hard to tell. But they're doing really well. You can see some flashes of color, which is pretty interesting. And I think that they're all crown tails. The father, of course, is a half moon, and the mother is a crown tail. So crown tail, I believe, is more dominant. So I believe all of them are crown tail. And let's move on to the next tank. So I'm not gonna get too close and personal with this tank, but this is Mr. Commander's tank. He is a veil-tail betta that was hatched September, I think, 2018. So he's almost a year or 2 old, and he's in a no filter 5.5. I do once a week water changes. You can see the pearl weed over here. I've actually glued a small clump onto that driftwood, and that's what it's been doing since. There's water sprite everywhere. There's that giant Amazon plant, and he's got some snails in there, and he's always building bubble nests. And yeah, that's what's going on in that tank. That's actually my brine shrimp hatchery right here. You can see I got a crap ton of baby brine, and that's what I feed my licorice gouramis. But yeah, this is his tank, and there's one of those disgusting large snails in there. But let's move on to the next one. So I was gonna do the crayfish tank, but like I said, that light sucks. So as you can see, it does this. I'm going to put my shop light on that tank, but instead of doing that, next I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the gourami tank. Like I said, it's 2 males in here, and I feel really guilty of not being able to breed my licorice gouramis, but what can you do with 2 males? And like I said in my last video, I'm still waiting on more gouramis. Not sure what's going on. I know they're in an endangered species, so I believe all of them are on the CARES list now, as far as loss of habitat and such. These guys need to be bred, and they need keepers who want to try to breed them, like me. If you ever get your hands on gouramis, just make sure you set them up in a tank that is suitable for them to breed. Oh my god, I can't breathe. Oh my god. I am on the floor. This is the crayfish tank. The only way I can film this is without my tripod, so I'm actually laying on my stomach. And as promised, I put my shop light on here so you guys can see his tank from the side. Ooh, it still does that stupid thing. Give me a second. Alright, now we're cooking with gas. And this is Mr. Arthur. Ooh. It is so hard to film this tank. Probably from farther away, but yeah, that's Arthur's tank. Nothing much. Like I said in the beginning, this is a temporary setup. He has the same footprint as the 20 long, and it's shallow, so it's not a bad permanent setup for a crayfish. It's just the fact that, number one, it's on the floor, and number two, nothing else really. I like the lid, how I did the lid and everything. I did add a sponge filter in there because I do have ghost shrimp, which you guys are probably not going to see since I added the shop light. And I did notice too, I have scuds in here, like quite a bit of scuds. They're pretty much taking over the whole tank. But anyways, this is Arthur's tank. Most of the time he's either in his little hide over there or inside the pot. Rarely does he go over those rocks over there. Not sure why, but yep, this is Mr. Arthur's tank. And his name used to be Sharp. Sharp didn't die or anything. We just renamed Sharp Arthur. But here's a really blurry and crappy view of a ghost shrimp. I don't even know how many there are. Like, when I clean this tank, they're scattered about everywhere. I'm scared to move the camera because, yeah, that happens, so. But, yeah. They're everywhere in this tank, and like I said, it's really hard because they're clear. So after getting off the floor, we see the 10-gallon, what I call the Safe Zorb tank, which this is Safe Zorb. I'll put a link in the description down there where you can get this stuff. Basically, it's a clay-based, which you use to absorb like gasoline or any type of liquid. All it is clay. A lot of people use it in gardening and fish tanks as well. It is a very dirty, dusty type of substrate, and I believe over time it actually breaks down. But it's really good for your Amazon swords. I'm trying it with Kabamba, and what do I have over here? A Licorice, which is really picky for some reason. And this tank actually belongs to Mr. Fred, who is the father of my fry, who is doing some weird stuff right now. And he does have a filter. It's an internal Tetra whisper filter. One of my favorite filters to use. You can see him just chilling. I don't know what he's doing. He's not dead. Stop doing that. Hey, stop doing that. But yeah, I wanted to upgrade him for the past 2 months, like since the fry hatched, just because he's a very big betta, mainly because of his tail. He's a lot bigger than his brother back here, who is a commander. And what's funny is he was sold to me as a female, but he ended up being a gigantic half-moon male. What is he doing? Anyway, moving on. So this is a tank that I set up like weeks ago. It used to be where I was housing Mr. Fred over there, and it has a doubletail red male betta that my son picked out that I didn't want to get, but you know, mommy, and yeah, that's him. He's new here. Yeah, he's kind of cool looking, but he's not something that I want to breed, but it's whatever. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with him. Like I said, I didn't plan on getting him. There's a nice 5.5 up here. So, yeah, he's just gonna chill with me and eat bloodworms and stuff and live a better life. Ha 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 ha. But yeah, that's my rack. But I want a bigger rack. Plus this rack. And that one. But that's what's going on in here. I got some dead pothos up here. Like I said, I got my seeds in there growing for spring. I actually got a lot of basil in there, and I don't know if I want to show that. It's probably dead. But yeah, I got basil growing in there. And a little poster board that I'm hoping to fill. I have a lot more fish related channel stickers that I want to add. Probably gonna do that sometime soon. But yeah, mostly Sergeant Tank. And then I got Dustin's fish tanks up here because I did an order back last July. And of course, Angelo's fish tanks right here. I found that at the Dollar General, pretty cool for $1. And of course, the top view of Mr. Commander's tank. Now let's go take a look at the 60. In the past, this is the hardest tank for me to film because this is a very busy area. It's the living room where things live and play and make mess and smell. So I'm not gonna edit out any like background noise or nothing. It's just gonna happen. And this is the gourami tank. Well, the labyrinth tank. I still have 3 opaline gouramis. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 female bettas in here. You can only see like 2 of them because they're very used to the gouramis. And the gouramis really help keep the aggression down between the ladies. I did add, since the last time you saw this tank, hornwort. I glued some moss onto that wood. I've been repropagating the bacopa. I have pearlweed in here. Yeah, pearlweed. Sword plant. Another sword. And a aponogeton. That grew like crazy in like a week. And some water wisteria that also grew like crazy in like a week. And I got some plants that are sticking in the filter. Pothos, parlor palm. I bought these today. This is a English ivy, or English Liz ivy. I forgot the name of this one, but it was cool, so I just bought it. And I got another Tetra Whisper filter. It is rated for 40 gallons. That is the only filter in this tank. I took out the heater, really cleaned it out, and what I want to do is add stacks of wood on this side. Move my filter to the middle, buy another filter and move it to the middle as well. Build like a box for the plants to be in so that I can open the lids without worried about some of the plants actually falling in the tank. And yeah, that's the 60. It's really hard to tell, but I'm having really bad algae issues. I added the moss hoping that it would help with that, as well as the hornwort over here. But I still have a lot of green spot algae. What is she doing? I have a habit of just picking up the ugliest betta females. It's really hard to see her, but yeah. She's like blue with stripes on her face. But yeah, that's a terrible view of my 60-gallon tank that is in the living room. I hope you really enjoyed this video. And yeah, this is pretty much what's been going on, and pretty much what's been going on with me and how my tanks are and what I want to do in the future in the fish room or whatever this is going to be. But anyways, I will catch you guys on the next one. I've got to go yell at some kids.